Hello, friends and family. Welcome to another episode of the craziness that lives inside my head. Sit back, if you can, pump up the volume, and listen to what makes me tick. Welcome to the show. This episode is going to be part 5 and the last of the series of I'm Retiring. Now, in the last episode, I think I explained that I lost my job in 2010 and I got unemployment. And at the same time, I was going to massage therapy school because a year prior to them letting me go, I read the writing on the wall. And I had this feeling that if a corporation take over another corporation, and I've heard this, usually the new corporation always bring in their own people. So my personal trainer has suggested to become a massage therapist. So I went to massage school after work. Then when they let me go in 2010, I just went to massage school and the gym. I figured I had to lose some weight if you want to to be a massage therapist, right? So 2011, I graduated from massage school, Westport, Connecticut. Got my first job at Envy in Westport. That went well. The thing that happened is I couldn't survive in Connecticut on a massage therapy salary. Then I noticed that Massage Envy was paying the same salary in Connecticut they were paying in Virginia. And Virginia is quite cheaper to live than Connecticut. So I moved down to Virginia. And there was my mom's house. My mom passed and my grandmother passed. So I had 2 houses that I could move into rent free. They left me the houses. So it was cheaper and easier to live in Virginia than Connecticut. So I got a job in Richmond, Virginia. I got a job in Massage Envy there. I didn't get along with the manager, and he let me go. He didn't fire me. He said, if I fire you, you could never work for another Massage Envy. He said I was on the contract. So he said, what I'm going to do is saying there was no meaning of the minds of the contract and let me go. I took 2 months off, and then I got a sign-on bonus in the mail for Massage Envy at Midlothian, which I thought was a trap, by the way, being that they just let me go, in Richmond. So I went to Midlothian. It was a $500 sign-in bonus. You got to work there at least 90 days before you even get the bonus. So I did. I worked there 90 days. Actually, I worked at Midlothian for a good 4 years. That was an hour and a half drive from where I was living. And then the closest city to me was Williamsburg. Then I got not a sign-on bonus, but an advertisement in the mail saying that Massage Lux was coming into the market and there was openings in Williamsburg. And Williamsburg was a good half-hour ride. So I worked in Williamsburg, and I worked there for 8 years. Altogether, as a massage therapist, I worked 12 years. And being a massage therapist was, or is, whatever, my 20th job working since I was 13. My 20th job. When I worked at a newspaper, there was this guy. And I was explaining to him all the jobs I had when I was young. And he thought there was something wrong with me. He goes, there's something wrong with you. You can't keep a job? You can't keep a job? And I looked at him. I said, well, I worked for the stock exchange for 20 years. I mean, that's not enough. There were a lot of people under the impression, which I was never one of them, who think that you should work on a job for 30 years and then retire. I never understood that. Even when I was young, I still don't understand that. Because after a while, for me, I get bored of doing the same thing over and over again. I want a different scenery. I want to do something different and get paid more money doing it. When I worked on the stock exchange for 20 years, it was totally different because it started off at the old-fashioned way where we had IBM cards in the middle of the crowd, taking down the sales as quick as we can. I should say punching the IBM card as quick as we can and put them in the machine so we can go over the ticker tape. That went from 20 years. It went from doing that to a computer on the trading floor where you have the touchscreen computer. It went from that to where the brokers themselves had their own little iPad in their own hand and they was doing it themselves. So it wasn't like doing the same thing over and over again. I had to learn new things. I learned how to do the IBM cards. Then I had to learn how to do the touchscreen. Then they upgrade the touchscreen. Then you got to learn how to do the new system. You know how electronics. I was upgrading. And the newspaper was awesome in a sense. I tell people when I first started working at the newspaper and the marketing department, I had 3 computers because everything was done by what they call program. Like the software to help me do my job. So one software the company bought you could only use on an Apple computer. Another software the company bought you could only use on a PC. And then they had another older version of PC, but they couldn't find that software to work on the new computers, so they kept the old computer with the old software. So I had 3 computers at my desk, doing all 3 of them. And I did that for 10 years, just about 10 years. And then I became a massage therapist. Being a massage therapist was very interesting. I know people say, tell me, got any massage therapist stories? You know what kind of stories they want. The only story I could tell, and I only tell this, it's not a sex story, but it was a very interesting story. It was my second day on the job in Woodlawn, Richmond, and this young woman, she wanted a massage. I massaged her. I started her face down, and I massaged her. And then I had to flip her over. She couldn't move. I said, what happened? She goes, I'm paralyzed. I got scared because we learned in school, massage school, that people who are either diabetic or have low or high blood pressure, sometimes we lower their blood so much that they may get incapacitated or whatever, or faint. Usually they faint or because their blood level is so low. So I got scared. I thought I did something wrong. So she said, oh, I'm paralyzed. She goes, that massage was so good that I can't move. Can you help me move? I said, no. I said, we got all day. I said, we got another 25 minutes. When you ready, you could turn over. So she turned over. And then I draped her up to her neck. That's the way I was taught. And then I started, because since I left off with her legs, I went back to her legs, because I did the back part of the legs. Now I have to do the front part of the legs. So I'm doing the front part of the legs. Now if you do the legs, then you go up to the arms. Well, by the time I got to the arm, she had the blanket that I had, the draping, down to her waist. Then I really got scared. I said, oh my God, did I do that? Now you gotta understand, a male massage therapist was kind of risky because you always have these women. I shouldn't say all women do this, but you never know when some crazy woman might come and say rape. because you're a male and she's a female. So that scared me because I kept saying, I draped her. So I took the covers. She just stared at me. She didn't smile, and she just stared at me. So I took the covers and I put it back, draped up to her neck. And then I went over to the other arm and I massaged the other arm. And massaged her neck, and that was it. Her attitude changed, though. I'm going to be very honest with you. Because when I draped her back to her neck, the look she gave me was, the cartoons where they have the arrows coming out the eyes and to the other person's eye? Well, that's the look she gave me. She was like highly upset and hot. I'm like, to myself, I'm like, what is her problem? I mean, I didn't know what to make of it. Now, I'm new at this, so I don't know what to make of it. To make a long story short, my stories are never short, she didn't tip me. Not one tip. Not one tip. And basically, those are my stories. I mean, I had another incident maybe some years later in the same situation. And I had one woman, every time I know I'm doing her legs, and every time I look up over, she got the drape down to her waist. So I go back and I put the draper up to here, go back to do the other leg. I look up and she got it back down to her waist again. I said to myself, if she does this again, then we have to end the massage, because it was very inappropriate for her to expose her breasts to me. Even though I got big breasts. But anyway, I got man boobs. So that's the story. I've been working since I was 13. My mother got me going. She said, if you want anything in life, you go and work for it. Because she said, I ain't giving it to you. And all I want to say, I'm not putting down the young generation. Because I had people who says to me, the young generation, all they want to do that. Well, I don't know. I look at it this way. I'd rather work and have my own. Because this way, I work for it, it's mine. I don't want nobody to give me something. Because I have people who have given me something, and right away, I gave you this and I gave you that, and this is how you're going to treat me? No, you didn't give me a damn thing. I worked for it. I got it myself, and I can treat you any freaking way I want. You had just heard the craziness that lives inside my head.